Want to fight America? 5 reasons the US military will make you dead. The United States is the most formidable military power the world has ever seen. Arguably, since the end of the Cold War, America has enjoyed a level of dominance unparalleled in history. Neither Rome nor the British Empire enjoyed such a level of superiority over rival powers. While the American military is not the largest on Earth, it is by far the best trained and best equipped force on the planet, putting rivals like Russia and China to shame. But it took generations to develop America's military into the world-beating force it is today. And it wasn't until the end of the Civil War that the US fielded armies that could challenge European militaries on the battlefield. From then onwards, it took 2 world wars before the US military finally established itself as the most dominant force on Earth. Here are 5 of all-time deadliest innovations in America's arsenal. Number 1. The Gatling gun. First fielded during the American Civil War, which to this day is the deadliest war in US history with over 600,000 military dead, the Gatling gun was one of the first rapid-fire weapons in history. Consisting of multiple barrels rotating around a central axis, the weapon, invented by Richard Gatling, solved the problem of providing sustained fires for the first time in the gunpowder age. Initially, the US Army, due to the service's conservative nature, was reluctant to adopt Gatling's invention. After Gatling had improved on his initial 6-barrel design that fired 350 rounds per minute, the Army did eventually adopt the new weapon. It was first used in 1864 at the Battle of Petersburg in Virginia. After the end of the Civil War, the Army used a 10-barrel Gatling gun that could fire 400 rounds per minute during various conflicts with the Native American population in what are now the Western states. Number 2. The atomic bomb. The United States developed the atomic bomb during the height of the Second World War under a program called the Manhattan Project. The project kicked off in 1939 when the Advisory Committee on Uranium told President Franklin Roosevelt that the element would provide a possible source of bombs with a destructiveness vastly greater than anything now known. Work on the bomb went into overdrive after the attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941. When the United States formally entered World War II against Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan. Much of the urgency was driven by the belief that the Nazis were working on their own version of the bomb. The project eventually succeeded and yielded the 2 weapon designs that ultimately brought the Second World War to an end. On August 6, 1945, a lone B-29 bomber called Enola Gay, commanded by Colonel Paul Tibbets, destroyed the city of Hiroshima with a single 15-kiloton nuclear weapon called Little Boy. A few days later, a 21-kiloton yield weapon called Fat Man destroyed Nagasaki on August 9, 1945. Seeing the writing on the wall, the Emperor of Japan ordered an unconditional surrender. The world would never be the same with the dawn of the atomic era. Number 3. Precision-guided weapons. Since the 1970s, one of America's decisive advantages in war has been the ability to hit targets precisely. During most of history, war has basically been about throwing a huge volume of fire at a target with a small chance of actually hitting anything. The introduction of precision-guided weapons changed all that. For example, when the 8th Air Force launched a massive air raid to knock out German ball-bearing plants in 1943, it launched around 400 B-17 bombers to hit the targets. Most of the bombs, dropped at appalling cost and meant an aircraft, didn't even come close to hitting their targets. The pattern has repeated itself over and over, and entire squadrons will be launched to hit a single target. More often than not, they wouldn't hit a thing. That all changed towards the end of the Vietnam War. In 1972, laser-guided bombs allowed U.S. Air Force and U.S. Navy jets to hit targets precisely. Instead of dozens of jets trying to strike a single target in vain, one jet could hit multiple targets during a sortie. While in 1972, there were only a handful of precision-guided weapons available, in 2015, almost all weapons dropped from American warplanes are precision-guided. Precision-guided weapons have given U.S. forces the edge for the past 40 years, but it's an advantage that is starting to slip as other nations develop their own equivalent weapons.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Daily Aviation Channel. Today, let's discover the enigmatic X-47B. The X-47B is an unmanned combat air system manufactured by Northrop Grumman for the United States Navy. It was developed from the X-47A Pegasus and was intended for aircraft carrier-based operations and arrested landings. It is the first unmanned aircraft to be catapulted from an aircraft carrier. Tailless design and blended wing body structure lower the radar footprint, making the X-47B ideal for penetrating protected airspaces. X-47B made history by performing the first ever autonomous aerial refueling in 2015. It received fuel from the Omega's Boeing 707 tanker through the probe and drogue method, usually used by manned aircraft like the FA-18 Super Hornet.
Almost done with the turn.
X-47B inherits a different landing gear compared to its Pegasus variant. The nose wheel is comprised of two wheels within the tricycle-type landing gear, while the main gears have single wheels. The arrestor hook, fitted to the aircraft's empennage, catches one of the arrestor cables to slow down the aircraft upon landing. The aircraft receives power from a Pratt & Whitney F100 turbofan engine. As a distinctive feature of the most carrier-based aircraft, X-47B can fold its wings, making the wingspan from 38.2 to 30.9 feet, thus saving more deck space. Bell AH-1 Super Cobra is a twin-engine attack helicopter and the successor of the AH-1 Cobra. The Super Cobra has a slim design inherited from its predecessor and is powered by two turboshaft engines. As an attacking helicopter, Super Cobra can be fitted with many armaments, including Sidewinder air-to-air missiles and sidearm anti-radiation missiles. UH-1Y Huey is a twin-engine utility helicopter developed from Bell UH-1N twin Huey. First flew in 2001 and entered the service in 2008. The helicopter has an all-composite four-bladed main rotor, and both the main rotor and the tail rotor are made tolerant toward ballistic damages. The Huey can also be equipped with rockets and machine guns. More importantly, it has an advanced countermeasure system, incorporated with countermeasure dispensers, radar warning receivers, and laser detection systems.